A cursed weekend away. So, the plan was supposed to be simple. A weekend getaway to the mountains with Clara. Just the two of us. Away from the kids and work chaos. I thought it would be nice to reconnect. Maybe even have some fun. But from the moment we started driving up that winding road, something felt off. "Look at that view, Jack," Clara said, her excitement bubbling over as we parked. I forced a smile, but honestly, the air felt heavy, like a storm was brewing somewhere. We set up our tent by a beautiful lake, surrounded by towering pines. The sun dipped below the horizon, and suddenly, it felt like the woods were holding their breath. We lit a fire, and I tried to shake the creeping unease as I watched the flames flicker. "Let's go for a walk," Clara suggested, all bright-eyed. I hesitated, but I didn't want to ruin her good mood, so I agreed. As we strolled along the lake, an eerie sound broke the night, like a distant wailing, almost mournful. My heart skipped a beat. "Did you hear that?" I asked, glancing at her. She frowned and nodded, looking uneasy. "It's just the woods," she said, trying to sound casual. But I could tell she was feeling it too. When we got back to the campsite, the strange sounds continued. Low growls, distant laughter, and that wail again. I kept glancing at the tree line, feeling like we were being watched. It was disconcerting. That night, sleep didn't come. I lay awake, listening to the rustling outside. Then I heard it again. Thuds, like something heavy being dropped. Clara was fast asleep, but my heart raced as I peered out of the tent. There they were, figures in the shadows, holding hatchets, their eyes glinting in the faint moonlight. Panic shot through me. "Clara," I whispered urgently, shaking her awake. "There are people out there." "What? Are you serious?" she mumbled, still half asleep. "I swear, I saw them. We need to get out of here." My voice was shaky as I unzipped the tent, cold air hitting me like a slap. Clara followed, her face pale with fear, but the figures were gone. Still, the night was alive with whispers and laughter that felt like they were curling around us, suffocating. I could feel the tension thickening like fog. "Let's just go back inside," Clara said, voice trembling. "Maybe we're just imagining things." But just as we turned to go back, heavy footsteps echoed behind us. I turned, heart in my throat. The figures were there again, stepping out from the darkness, their hatchets gleaming menacingly. "Who are you?" I called out, trying to sound brave. "You shouldn't be here," one said, his voice gravelly. "This place belongs to the lost. Leave now or stay forever." "Please, we didn't mean any harm," I pleaded, desperation flooding my words. Their laughter rang out, chilling me to the bone. I felt Clara grip my arm tighter. "Run!" I shouted, and we bolted into the woods, adrenaline fueling our flight. Branches snagged at us as we stumbled deeper into the trees, and I could still hear their laughter echoing behind us. Finally, we broke free into a clearing, panting and terrified. "We need to find our way back to the car," I said, looking at Clara, her eyes wide with fear. We ran, hearts racing, until we finally made it back to the campsite. We packed quickly, every sound sending us into a panic. As we sped away from that place, relief washed over me, but it didn't last long. Weeks went by, but the experience haunted Clara. I started to notice changes in her. She was quieter, more distant. I'd catch her staring out the window for long stretches, lost in thought. Little things made her jump, and I felt a chill every time I saw that fear flash in her eyes. One evening, I sat down with her. "Clara, are you okay? You seem different since the trip." She hesitated, her eyes clouding. "I don't know, Jack. I just keep thinking about what happened. It's like it's haunting me." The next day, she made an appointment with a therapist. I was relieved she was seeking help, hoping it would make things better. Clara began attending sessions regularly, sharing her feelings about that terrifying night and the overwhelming fear that clung to her like a shadow. But as the weeks turned into months, I began to worry. Sometimes, late at night, I'd hear her whispering to herself, her face twisted in anxiety. One night, I woke suddenly and felt something strange. I turned to look at Clara, and my heart dropped. There she was, asleep beside me, but she was clutching a hatchet in her hand, its blade glinting ominously in the moonlight. "Clara!" I gasped, my heart racing. She stirred, but didn't wake, her grip tightening around the hatchet as if it was a comfort. Carefully, I took it from her hand and set it aside, dread washing over me. What had that trip done to her? The next day, she went to therapy again, and I hoped she would find peace. But every time I saw that hatchet, I felt a knot in my stomach. What if she was never the same? What if the darkness from that weekend had seeped into her? As Clara continued her sessions, I prayed she would heal. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest's shadows were now a part of her, and I was left wondering how we could ever find our way back from that dark place.